Thanks for staying with us. Well, recent events in the corporate era have brought to light a concerning trend of violence and conflicts among students in prominent high schools. The catalyst for the most recent incident appears to be a romantic rivalry between students from different schools. Joining us this morning to share her perspective on the social alarm that has been caused and the discussion that has ensued is Project Coordinator of Digital Learning Innovation at the UWI Global Campus, Jody Grizzle. Welcome to Sunrise, Jody. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Hi, Dennis and Yendi, and good morning to all your listeners and viewers.
All right, let's just begin, I suppose, at the beginning. When you saw some of the videos erupt on social media and the virality of it, what was your first impression?
I'm tired of it. I think it's one of the most heartbreaking news for a parent to get, that, listen, something has happened to your child and we need you to come. That's it. With respect to the young man who was killed. It is just tiresome. It is heartbreaking news. And then it is also embarrassing. And then you feel a sense of pity and worry.
One of the challenges I find is that the violence that sometimes plays out in the school context has nothing to do with the children themselves. In some of the instances, and now, I mean, the one in terms of the romantic conflict is maybe an isolated incident, but some of the times what we're seeing is children playing out violence in the adult world. In terms of from where you sit, is it child-centered or because of the context within which the children operate?
So the behaviors that were recently displayed are not because those were bad children. They're just children who are acting how their environment has shaped them. That's what they're influenced by. So it doesn't appear out of thin air. It's curated over time based on their socialization, whether that is the music, social media, cultural expressions, what they see at home, and influences from other cultures which are accessible by bandwidth.
Let's dive into that a little bit more, Jody, because I often feel, especially now as a mom, Dennis and I were actually just speaking about this a while ago in the break, I feel a sense of responsibility to raise a human being who is a well-contributing, balanced human being in the world, right? And I often feel like the people that we interact with who are just like, boy, that person a little shaky, I often don't judge that person, but wonder about their environment and their upbringing. How important is the role that we have, one, as parents, but two, as teachers and guidance counselors, because our children do spend more time in school, more waking hours in school than they do even with us. How important is it that we all come together to recognize that something isn't right and we have to shift how we do things?
Yeah, you are spot on, because the challenge though is not everyone has the same parenting ideals that you have. Not everyone was raised with certain values, norms, and expectations. So you just had a little baby. You're teaching her or him, I'm sorry, thank you, please, etc. Some persons don't grow up in that environment, right? They know, give me this, come here, sit down. That's how they are communicated to. And in turn, that's how they interact with others. And so even though their personality may be different, over time, the outward demeanor and their treatment marries with their personality. I give you another example. If you're having an argument in Jamaica, verbal conversation, how many people opt to walk away from the discussion instead of going point by point? Even on your interviews, sometimes your guests do not allow the other participant to complete their points. They interrupt. And it's that same mentality. Instead of me spending 5 minutes to go through points A, B, and C, why I believe a certain thing, I would rather just push you down, tell you talk to the hand, I ain't listening, walk away, or some other behavior. Eventually, that spirals, and that's what we have now.
Yeah, and we often have, you know, our approach to discipline also really molds our children more than we even realize. So in the name of discipline, they must get a big backhand, so boof, but there's no conversation about your behavior. There's no conversation about why your behavior has to change. You just get a big lick, boof, and you just know, say, all right, when we do this, we get a lick. But there's nothing that allows a child to emotionally mature and to self-reflect and to make adjustments. What do we do as the people who have the platform to suggest change and to affect change? How do we allow this to become a norm in our homes where we say, no man, stop, drape up the youth, have conversations. This is how we mirror conflict resolution for our children.
We can accomplish that in the home structure based on the extent of broken homes and families. We have mostly single parent households. We have mostly women-led households. Men abscond from their responsibilities, both with a presence and both with financial contributions. How do we fix this? First of all, I would challenge our education system. I would say put away the one-size-fits-all approach to education and pedagogy. Differentiated learning experiences are critical and meaningful. They result in meaningful student engagement. You need to recognize that boys and girls learn differently, that children from certain traumatic experiences or situations will also learn differently. I am tired of seeing one standard curriculum from the Ministry of Education. We need interventions of different types delivered in different modalities because people learn differently.
You know, final question to you then. From, I mean, where you sit in terms of the UA concept and from a programmatic perspective, are there programs, are there projects that we can begin to explore maybe in the NGO community and our government that will do a better job at, you know, re-socializing some of the persons in particular spaces where we see flashpoints? What can we do to remedy the situation?
Definitely. One of the innovative programs coming out of the UWI Global Campus is a thrust at digital learning innovation. And here we want to use esports to promote game-based learning. That's a different means of engaging with, in particular, boys who are very attracted to it, and girls who also require spaces for their digital development. There are other things such as simulation labs where persons can go and get hands-on skills development and training. You can even use technology to improve on your interpersonal skills and emotional intelligence. So the same distractors and influencers that produce the outcomes we currently have can be used to shape and create outcomes that are more positive.
But again, back to your point, we have to adjust the modalities because we can actually use that in our education system and rejig it so that there is one, an interest, two, a proper honing in of the development in that particular area, and we can then see outcomes. I love this conversation. I actually wish we could do another 10 minutes. Oh, that was really fantastic stuff. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. It was my pleasure. Have a great day.
You too. That was Jody Grizzle, Project Coordinator, Digital Learning Innovation at the UE Global Campus. On the other side of the break, we shift our focus to Earth Week, another one of my faves. Please stay with us.